In this Elden Ring video, I'm going to discuss my take on a subject that pops up all the time in our forums, comments, and Discord. Has FromSoftware peaked? FromSoftware is known for its challenging and atmospheric titles and came from relative obscurity to now make a significant impact on the gaming industry. With popular franchises like Dark Souls, Bloodborne, and Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, the studio gained a loyal fan base and critical praise. However, as the developers continue to grow, questions arise. Has FromSoftware reached its peak? Is the studio now moving too much toward mainstream appeal, risking a decline in quality and uniqueness? Let's discuss. FromSoftware's main trigger to stardom was without a doubt Demon's Souls in 2009. Its unforgiving difficulty, intricate world building, and innovative multiplayer mechanics set a new standard for action RPGs. This ascent was completely player-driven, as press and publishers alike had adamantly rejected the title and gone as far as calling it trash, as I have pointed out many times over the years. But the obscurity and complexity of the mechanics appealed to this nascent fan base and created a sleeper hit. This formula was refined and popularized through the Dark Souls series, which in turn became a cultural phenomenon, praised for its deep lore, meticulous level design, and punishing yet rewarding gameplay, this time not just by a stubborn group of players, but by many press outlets and a very supportive Bandai Namco that funded the titles. FromSoftware was not to rest on its laurels, and Bloodborne and Sekiro Shadows Die Twice further showcased the studio's versatility. Bloodborne introduced a faster, more aggressive combat style, while Sekiro emphasized precision and skill with its parrying system. Each title maintained the studio's signature difficulty and atmospheric storytelling, reinforcing FromSoftware's reputation for creating unique and challenging experiences. The announcement and subsequent release of Elden Ring marked a significant milestone for FromSoftware. Collaborating with renowned author George R.R. Martin, the game promised a completely new open-world experience while retaining the core elements that fans adore. People dismissed these claims as big Dark Souls or Dark Souls with a horse and jump button, but ultimately the game smashed expectations in every possible way. Since then, Elden Ring has been lauded for its ambition and incredible execution, as it successfully blended the studio's traditional strengths with new, more accessible mechanics. The push towards broader appeal has sparked debates among fans and critics. Some fear that in striving to attract a wider audience, FromSoftware might dilute the very aspects that make its games special. The studio's increasing visibility and commercial success could lead to compromises, potentially softening the brutal difficulty and intricate design that defines its titles. The concern of mainstreaming is not unfounded either. It's a story as old as the industry has existed. Studios grow and seek to maximize their audience, and there's often a temptation to simplify mechanics and narrative complexity to cater to a broader demographic. FromSoftware's commitment to challenging gameplay and deep, ambiguous storytelling has always been a double-edged sword, appealing to hardcore gamers while potentially alienating newcomers. With the release of Shadow the Erdtree, many are noticing an incongruous situation where the fights can be incredibly hard, but the overall narrative mystery surrounding NPCs is being slowly eroded by easy-to-follow hints. Most secrets in the DLC have incredibly obvious tips that go directly against what I originally praised the title for, treating me like an adult. I don't need a tip that says hit them where it hurts most to realize the Smith golems must be hit on their shiny bejeweled butt. I don't need be fearless or a ghost telling me wish I had the valor to jump to realize a dead end with a giant drop is likely a way forward. There are small examples of this everywhere, including the very obvious dialogue from Leda and allies about where to go and what to do, and the fact that for the first time in Souls history, we actually cannot kill these NPCs as they just vanish when hit. We went from the game launching without NPC markers on the map to them telling us exactly where they'll be standing next and being unkillable in the span of one DLC. And why did this happen? Player feedback. But before you jump out at me and tell me it's good that they're listening, let's explore what that can actually do to games. When discussing Demon's Souls' concept developments, Hidetaka Miyazaki assured us that its brutal nature was not due to masochism, but rather the objective was to provide a true sense of accomplishment and minimize over-communication from the developer to and between players. Yet here we are, so many titles later, having gone from, oh no, I put my controller down and now Thomas is dead and I don't have a bank, my inventory is full and I can't do anything, to make sure to hit the enemies in the back. I feel like this is an overcorrection rooted in player feedback that is not always what is best for these games and studios. I explored this in my Why Elden Ring Just Works video. Essentially, what happens with each new game comes a new feature, and with each iteration, new implementations of player feedback slowly take over as the customer is louder than the artist. As with anything, R&D and marketing have a curious effect on products. Eventually, everything is over-optimized and so much feedback has been taken in that the sales are through the roof because the new features should make everyone happy, but somehow, actually nobody is happy. This is what happened to Ubisoft and why their games feel like guided pony rides with a million map markers, unbreakable resettable simple quests, and easy combat. They simply took on all the feedback, their sales went through the roof for it, so they kept going. A lot of the time, the feedback is helpful in streamlining or removing things that hinder gameplay like inventory management, equipment weight, weapon durability, or the accidental hitting of a crucial NPC due to a misclick. But over the years, there have been many good or entertaining mechanics that were discarded rather than refined, and many elements that have now been trimmed down so much they just aren't there anymore. To remind you, some of them are. Your stat choices used to be permanent like a board game. I love making builds and I love that I don't have to restart. But there was a thrill in the planning and charting of a build from the game start to make it work. It made Demon's Souls feel like D&D. We used to have a complex weapon upgrade system with unlocks from bosses, previously upgraded weapons, and special ores. Now you just go to the merchant and pick up one item from the boss remembrance that you can also duplicate, and every other weapon enhancement is simply swappable via an Ash of War. There used to be armor upgrades, giving you a reason to farm the rather sparse materials and actually progress your character with armor as well. There used to be no bonfires at all in a level until the boss was defeated. Now you can probably throw an item from one grace to another in several areas of the game. Your NPC offenses used to be permanent, so you decided to punch the smith in the face, well, good luck with your +0 weapon. Now most NPC hubs are no damage zones, and with the DLC you can't even hit them on purpose. Secrets used to have no hints. There was an entire covenant hidden behind someone accidentally putting on the wrong ring in a room, and an entire boss fight and world state gated behind you purposefully attacking a very friendly and quite well-endowed lady. You used to have covenants to choose from, and allegiance was permanent, and there were penalties for breaking your oath. Then allegiance became temporary and sin without penalties. And then there just aren't any covenants at all. You can do whatever the hell you want and be opposing factions at the same time, no problem. Of course, it's not time to ring the bells in panic yet. There is evidence that FromSoftware is mindful of this balance. Elden Ring, despite its more open and accessible structure, still maintains a high level of difficulty and complexity. The inclusion of optional bosses, hidden lore, and intricate world design ensures that veteran players find ample challenge and depth. FromSoftware's future hinges on its ability to innovate without losing its identity. The gaming industry is littered with examples of developers who, in pursuit of mainstream success, compromised their core values, leading to a decline in quality and fan loyalty. I remember when we all loved BioWare, CD Projekt Red, and Blizzard. There are precious few success stories of studios that manage to evolve and expand their audience while preserving their essence. For FromSoftware, the key lies in maintaining creative freedom and resisting the pressure to conform to mainstream expectations. This includes resisting the constant calls for difficulty modes that will gut the experience, as we explored in our Say No to Easy Mode video. So far, the studio's leadership, particularly under the direction of Hidetaka Miyazaki, has shown a strong commitment to their vision. Miyazaki's influence has been instrumental in shaping the unique qualities of FromSoftware's games, and his continued involvement is crucial to ensuring the studio stays true to its roots. But in the end, money speaks, and the tremendous financial success of Elden Ring and Shadow of the Erdtree can be used by both camps. All these people bought the game that's easier than the previous ones and are telling us to simplify all these things. Let's do it, and they'll be happy and we'll sell more. Versus I stuck to my guns and put convoluted quest lines, disappearing NPCs, and hard-as-nails bosses, and people still bought it in record numbers. Let me do what I want. I sure hope the latter one wins. Another aspect that FromSoftware will need to tackle is the evolution of its combat system. We initially had a rather straightforward block and hit setting that became more nuanced when you went under the surface, but was ultimately very limited compared to what we have now. Over the years and across many games, From has refined and polished their offering, exploring pure aggression and parry tactics with Bloodborne and Sekiro, and attempting to give us the best of all go with Elden Ring's incredible arsenal. Bosses in Shadow of the Erdtree are a complete spectacle with fantastic visual effects and sound effects. Phase 2 Bale is jaw-dropping. However, the player reaction to these insane boss feels mediocre. You just roll, light attack, roll, and maybe get a quick spell or Ash of War. In a way, Sekiro had a similar setting as you just parry, but unlike Sekiro, where it feels frame-perfect satisfying due to the multiple animations and ingenious tools, the lack of iframes in Elden Ring makes your flashier attacks a losing proposition unless you're willing to trade damage. This is something that From still can push on, and I hope they look at Devil May Cry for an example of a combat system that allows both the bosses and the player to look incredibly cool with their combos. Conclusion. So is FromSoftware peaked? It's too early to say definitively. The studio stands at a crossroads with the potential to either solidify its legacy as the ultimate master of challenging, atmospheric games, or to become another gigantic casualty of mainstreaming. The success of Elden Ring suggests that FromSoftware is capable of balancing broader appeal with the depth and difficulty that fans expect. However, the true test will be in how the studio navigates future projects. As long as FromSoftware remains committed to innovation and quality, there's every reason to believe that its best days could still be ahead. The challenge will be to expand and evolve without losing the core elements that have made its games so beloved. Whether the studio can achieve this balance will determine if FromSoftware continues to be a leading force in the gaming industry, or if it has indeed peaked. What are your guys' thoughts? Has FromSoftware peaked? What do you think? Did Shadow the Erdtree dumb things down too much for you? Let us know in the comments below.